Here's something a lot of organisations still don't realise. Mandatory climate reporting in Australia isn't coming, it's already here. The biggest companies and mid-sized organisations are already reporting. And here's the bit that catches people off guard. It's not just the reporting organisations that need to act. Their suppliers can get pulled into the mix too. Today I'm going through exactly what mandatory climate reporting is in Australia and who it affects. What is it? Mandatory climate reporting means certain organisations are legally required to explain in writing how climate change affects their business or organisation, and they lodge that report with the corporate regulator ASIC alongside their normal financial report. In Australia, the disclosure standard is AASB S2, which forms the foundation of mandatory climate reporting rules. This is a real legal requirement in place now. Here's something directors especially need to hear. This sustainability report is the mandatory climate report and sits within the financial report package, alongside the financial statements, the director's report, and the auditor's report, as one of the 4 required parts of the annual reporting bundle lodged with ASIC. It's legally a separate report with its own director's declaration and its own audit, but it's part of that same official annual reporting process. And that declaration matters because directors are personally liable for what's in it, just like signing off on financial statements. There's some breathing room right now. For the first couple of years, directors only need to declare that they've taken reasonable steps rather than guarantee that it's completely accurate. But if the information is completely wrong, misleading, or missing, directors can face civil penalties under the Corporations Act. Who does mandatory climate reporting affect? Organisations are sorted into 3 groups based on size and certain thresholds. Group 1 are the largest organisations, more than 500 staff, $1 billion or more in assets, or $500 million or more in consolidated revenue, meeting 2 of those 3 thresholds, and they're reporting from January 2025. Group 2 organisations have more than 250 staff, $500 million or more in assets, or $200 million or more in consolidated revenue, again 2 of the 3 thresholds, and they're reporting from July 2026. Group 3 organisations have more than 100 staff, $50 million in assets, or $25 million in consolidated revenue, though the government has flagged it may lift these thresholds, and they're reporting from July 2027. There's also a separate rule. Any organisation that reports big emissions under the NGER scheme, NGER, or manages more than $5 billion in assets is in Group 1 automatically, no matter its size. And any organisation that sells to one of these reporting organisations may get asked to hand over its own emissions data too, because that reporting organisation needs the information to report on its own supply chain. So even a small supplier can get caught up in this, even though it may never have to lodge a report on its own. So what actually has to be reported? The report covers 4 areas: governance, who's in charge; strategy, what's the plan; risk management, what could go wrong; and metrics and targets, how is it being measured. Organisations also need to measure their Scope 1 emissions, pollution created directly by their own operations, and Scope 2 emissions, pollution from the electricity they buy. Scope 3 emissions, which cover the whole value chain, get a 1-year grace period. They're optional in year 1 and mandatory from year 2. What does this mean for the different roles involved? Well, for directors, this is a governance and oversight job. They're not expected to personally calculate emissions figures, but they are expected to ask the right questions. They need to make sure the right processes exist, and they need to sign off knowing that they've taken reasonable steps. That personal liability is exactly why directors need to stay genuinely across this, not delegate it and forget it. For accountants, this is where the numbers get built. Collecting emissions data, calculating it using accepted methods, and bringing it into a process that can stand up to an audit, much like financial figures already do. For lawyers, the focus is compliance risk and wording. That means reviewing disclosures for anything that could be seen as misleading. It also means understanding how the safe harbour provisions apply. And it means helping build supplier data requirements into contracts. So getting scope 3 information is an illegal grey area later. So that's the picture, what mandatory climate reporting is, who it catches, and what actually needs to be reported. And here's the bigger message. This isn't only applicable for the organisations required to report themselves. It makes smart business sense for everyone to start now. Work out what applies, get the basics in place, and get prepared for a future where sustainability and climate reporting is simply normal practice for every organisation.